My name is Chris, and my wife and I have lived in our house here for 11 years with our 4 kids and 3 dogs. And when we moved in, the prior owners had introduced us and left us all the information for Vetch Plumbing, who had serviced the house for the 10 plus years prior. Before we knew it, we built a trusting relationship with them. They would come in when we weren't even home. And then we did many projects over the years, updating our entire home, several bathrooms, kitchen, and we leaned on Vetch to do it all. So the way we learned about Vetch Plumbing was from the prior owners of our home. Vetch had been servicing our home for 10 plus years, and the owners had such a great experience that they left us their information, and we just continued the relationship going. So a project with Vetch that exceeded our expectations was probably our master bath remodel. After living in our home for a year or two, we decided that was going to be the first project we'd tackle. And it pretty much needed an overhaul, new tub, new shower, new sinks, the whole 9 yards, tile. And we were just really overwhelmed by their level of customer service, the way they communicated. I loved the way the office would call you and say, "Hey, Chris, just wanted to let you know, Bill's on his way over, Dan's on his way over, he'll be here in 20 minutes, and just really easy to work with. And also in that project, we just noticed how clear their billing was. They were always very forthcoming with what they would charge. And at the end, there were never any surprises. They very much did what they said they were going to do. I think the thing that sets Vetch apart from the others is really their level of service and transparency. I never feel like I'm getting upsold or sold a bill of goods. They come and perform the service that we need or ask for. If there's an improvement or an idea that can make it even better, they'll bring that to me, but I never feel like I'm being upsold or duped, which with some other contractors, frankly, we've had some interesting experiences, but never with Vetch. It's just been very transparent, honest, and great results too. As far as the level of expertise and professionalism from Vetch, I was always impressed with how they would solve a problem, in creative ways. Because with an older home that we're remodeling, there's always a surprise, and they always had a solid way to fix something or remodel, repair something, and had creative solutions that didn't cost you an arm and a leg, but would solve the problem at hand. And that it didn't matter what the project was, because we started with the master bath. We wound up doing a few other bathrooms with them. We did our kitchen with them. It didn't matter what the topic was related to plumbing, water, they had the answer. And professionalism, always very courteous. Their bills are very detailed, and even costing it out on a line item basis. When they come in the house, they have these special things that go over their boots to make sure they keep clean. I mean, they're just very thoughtful of how they operate in your house as well. So we have 4 kids, lots of showers, lots of use of hot water. So when we remodeled, we used to have 2 old water heaters that had to be replaced, and we had to reroute the way those were exhausted out the house to get the carbon monoxide out of the house or whatnot, the exhaust fumes from the water heaters. They're gas heaters. And it was a bit of an interesting process to watch them do that. I was very impressed with how they problem solved that. We actually went from 2 water heaters to 1 that was slightly larger with a special mix valve that really gave us significantly more water, hot water specifically. We always struggled prior with the 2 water heaters to have enough hot water for all 6 of us. And after that switch, it was so much nicer. There was no fighting over who got to shower first with the 4 kids. You can imagine 3 teenagers in the house at one time, 4 kids total. It was a bit much. So that was a very interesting challenge that they figured out a great solution to. So Vetch has a very consistent process to make sure that customers are satisfied. It starts in the planning phases. They would always help us make selections in advance and understand the cost of those selections, whether there's a rough-in and then final work that needs to be done if there's multiple trips. I always appreciated how they were very thoughtful and detailed in how they explained those different costs and the total cost and a not to exceed cost, so that if there were surprises, we knew what the ceiling was. But all throughout the communication level, the office, whether it was Pat in the old days or Kim more recently, they'd call and let you know, hey, we're on schedule for this time, this day. And then that day they call you, let you know 15 minutes, hey, Dan's going to be there in 15 minutes. Those kind of touches you don't get from a lot of service businesses these days. So they really prioritize customer satisfaction and making sure they communicate effectively to set expectations and make sure it meets your desired outcome. So as far as what value Vetch brings to the community, water is a critical function of our lives, right? And you don't maybe think about it every day. You probably take it for granted until you don't have it for a little bit. Something goes wrong. We actually had we have a well here, so our water's supplied by a well, and the pump went bad, had to be replaced. That was an interesting weekend. It always happens on a Friday. So I think the level of integrity, commitment to their customers that Vetch brings, they have after-hours support if you call and need help. It's really a critical value of making sure that you have what you need as everything related water to your house. So I think, I would say their integrity, their commitment to customers, and the ability to just make sure that our water is always running is key. So I think one of the things that sets Vetch apart is the breadth of services they offer related to water. And so in our house, if I think about everything they've done here, certainly they've replaced sinks, faucets, toilets, kind of the basics that we think of when we think plumbing. We do live have a well here, so we have a lot of iron in our water. So they have a special iron filter that they've brought in to the house that is phenomenal. I know that because it broke once, the old one, and we replaced it with a new one. And when it was not functioning, I was amazed at the level of iron in the water. Because they deliver salt to the house, they're monitoring the quality of our water, the hardness, softness, and iron filter functioning. So it makes routine maintenance really easy because they're here, whether it's once a month or once a quarter, on some frequency to kind of maintain and monitor things. So having them deliver the salt is a huge service because they catch a problem before it happens, right? Oh, I noticed this, we should do that, change a filter, whatever it might be. We also have a reverse osmosis water filtration system that they put in for drinking water. So I think the breadth of services that they've offered here and the way they do it combined with delivery service is really unique, I think. And again, never feeling oversold or upsold. They simply are wanting to make sure that we have a positive experience, everything related plumbing all the time. So when I think about the quality of products that Vetch is installing and delivering with their service, one of the things that comes to mind is the reverse osmosis system that they put in. I've seen a number of those where they fit underneath the sink, and I'm sure those can be just fine. We wanted faucets in a couple different locations and even to our ice maker, and I was amazed at the way they installed it into our utility room, the cleanliness of how they put it there, which makes it super easy to maintain. You have to change the filters on those things and keep them clean and whatnot. When it's underneath the sink, it's a lot more difficult. They're tucked in the back. I've had in a prior experience. So the quality of products and the way they delivered it for that system in particular really stuck out to me as like a unique way of doing it. That I think just shows their experience in doing this a really long time. Overall, I would characterize my experience working with Vetch Plumbing as the paradigm example that I would like any subcontractor that comes and works in our house to really follow. Their professionalism, their transparency, their communication style, the results they deliver, really are second to none. And I have recommended them to many, many friends who I know have used them. Their service is just top notch, and there's nothing better. As long as I'm living in Minnesota or in a drivable distance from them, they will be my plumber for life.